recording.
Yay.
Hey, and there it is. Awesome. I really appreciate you doing this with me.
Baby, anytime.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you ask me to do. Well, not anything.
Starting off so well. Awesome. So, Christine Moody, my wife, very first in my life and very first on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate it.
Baby, anytime. Seriously.
Thank you very much. So, what? Oh, already? Okay.
Sorry.
Gotcha. No, you're good.
I'm sorry.
You're good. No. So I guess my intentions for this, right? Because I've thought about, how am I going to conduct these kind of things? What do I want to do? What is the purpose of all this? And I just want to be able to talk with a diverse group of people, get their perspectives. And for me, I'm trying to learn from others.
Okay. I like it.
Because I've noticed that in my life, some of the best perspectives and the best ideas that I live with now have come from other people. So we've talked about this a lot.
Yeah.
I really like talking to people. I like hearing what someone has to say. I guess as long as they're able to say it in a way that's when someone can get too emotional, right?
Yeah, oh God,
when someone can get too emotional, when someone you've heard those people talk before, and it seems like they have no logic or reason behind what they're saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so excluding those people. Actually,
I feel like sometimes talking to those people is a teachable moment as well.
Everything's a teachable moment.
Yeah.
Everything's a teachable moment.
Because in that moment, you're having to learn, how are you going to control yourself and speak?
Yeah.
How are you going to handle yourself in that difficult situation? So,
most definitely.
Yeah.
So I figured, since this is something where I can invite people on, and so I'm getting to pick who I'm talking to, yeah. I'm going to shoot for the people that no matter what they believe in, they're at least able to talk. Ideally, if I disagree with something or if they disagree with something, it'd be really cool. It'd be really, really cool, right? To discuss what the best way of, hey, how can we come up with a way of coexisting, right? If we disagree on something. Because we just disagree on it. We just disagree on it, right? Yeah. But there are a lot of topics that I've heard people discuss before. Like the abortion one is a really big one.
Oh yeah.
It's
a hard one.
People can disagree on that, yeah. But if you're someone that is for pro-life, right? Usually when I listen to those people, because it's because of their values, because of the way they see things, obviously they don't want anyone to perform an abortion because of the way that they see the issue.
Yeah.
They see it as like, no excuse. You have to do this.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'd find it vastly interesting to try to have a conversation with someone who sees something far more different than me and come to a middle ground on, you believe this, I believe that. But since we have how many 8+ billion people in the world now?
Yeah.
What would be a way in which the majority of people, because I like to think that the majority of people want to cooperate, are good.
I feel like people tend to take it to the extreme, whether one way or the other. It's kind of like, let's be nerdy about it. It's kind of like, Star Wars. You've got your Jedi that have to be like, all good and follow these rules and blah, blah. And then you have the Sith that are just like, the complete opposite. And it's like, they're both fighting each other. But then there's this whole group of like gray Jedis.
Yeah.
That are in the middle. And it's like, I feel like if you take any topic and, you try to find that middle ground, there is a way to work things out. Most people are just too stuck on their own extreme. They're either on the Sith side or the Jedi side, and either one of them is willing to meet in the middle.
Yeah.
That's where I feel like a lot of the problems come from. But hey, that's the whole beauty of being humans and being able to, have your own way of thinking and feeling your own way, I guess. If we all thought the same, this would be a really boring place.
It would be. It would be. And I don't think it's how differently we all think that is the big issue. I agree. I think that that's an asset, us thinking differently. I think that the big issue is how we conduct ourselves when someone doesn't think the same way that we do.
Yeah.
Because, you and I, we have kids. And, not to be, I never thought I'd be the kind of person where like, you're the old person now. Back in my day, yo kids these days.
Oh my gosh.
But I do see.
I never had a cell phone in my hand.
I do see it. I see how identity politics has become such a big thing. You can blame it on, the media, all you want.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, the divisiveness, it's like either you're on this side or that side.
Yeah.
Is really big.
Yeah.
It's really big.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the bigger problem. It's not that you think differently than I. It's that because I think differently, now I'm your enemy.
Yeah.
And that's such a flawed way of thinking.
Gosh. Yeah. I mean, I remember, I hate to bring it, that far back into the past. I'm just kidding. But like, the whole presidency election thing. It
happens every time now.
Yeah. But I'm like, this past time, like it was such an eye-opening experience to have some of like the closest people that I like care about, that I love. And then to hear them say something that to me was just like so outrageous.
Yeah.
And it was like, it changed my entire way of viewing them. It changed my relationship with them. I forgot where I was going with that. But,
that's all right.
It was just one of those situations where, I forgot where I was going with that.
No, but I think you bring up a good point though. I feel like whenever you give two options, when you're only when you're only provided two options, it doesn't leave a whole lot to choose. Obviously, either this or that. I feel like life is far too complex to only be given two options.
Oh yeah.
And man, that's a big problem. We only have like Republican or Democrat. And you and I, you're right. We've talked to a lot of people and they'll say, I voted for this person, right? Because they didn't like the other person. Yeah. And you can ask them, well, okay, the person you did vote for, what do you like about them? And a lot of the time it's just, they just don't like the other person. I mean,
I had several people be like, I hate the person I'm voting for. I hate them.
Yeah.
But I just want the other person out. And I was like, that to me just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But again,
yeah.
We could talk about that all day. We're not going to get into that right now.
Yeah.
But
you know what we should get into?
What?
We should get into you.
Oh, Lord.
So
that's why you brought me on here, because you were like, this person. I mean, my wife is like messed up. So let's put her on here first. Let's talk about that.
I've told you a million times, you're the best person I know.
I know. I love you.
I got to start off on a great foot, and you're the best person I know. So, Christine Moody. Oh, Yeah, go for it. You got to adjust a little adjusty poo.
Yeah, my neck was like, that's not. I mean, hold on.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, I wish y'all could see the setup. He's got us like
get comfy cozy. You know, you got to make work whatever you. And you know what I loved? You know what I loved about what you just did, right? I loved that you had to burp, and so you put your face as close as possible to the microphone before burping, and then you executed. You were like, "All right, here we go. All right."
I wasn't.
Burp.
I wasn't trying.
But you did it. But you did it.
Gosh.
Anyway, so yeah, newly opened, business owner daycare provider in the state of Maryland, US of A.
USA.
So yes. Daycare. Why daycare?
Put me on the spot. So we have an 18-year-old, 15-year-old, and 9-year-old at home. And yours truly was getting baby fever. Now, let's go back a little bit. I absolutely love working with children. I always have. I mean, even when I was like, 16, 17? Actually, younger than that. At 12 years old, I went and got my CPR certification and stuff so I could help my aunt watch her 3 daughters. Yeah. Started working at a daycare as soon as I could. You know, right after the daycare, when I had my oldest, I got into dentistry. And as soon as I got my certifications, the first thing I did was look for a pediatric dental assistant position, you know, because I just feel like that's where I shine the best, is around, you know, young children. And so here I am, you know, I want a job. I want to go back to work. I want to work with children. And I have baby fever. So what's the best way to combine all 3? And it was just, hey, let me start a daycare. You know, that way I get to, you know, hang out with the babies and get that little baby itch and teach them and enjoy them. And at the end of the day, they get to go home and I get to sleep. Like, what better arrangement than that could you possibly have? So, you know, it was either that or forcing Mr. here into an 18-year contract for another baby. And he said no.
Yeah, I'm okay.
He said no.
Yeah, I'm okay. So, what is it about kids?
Sorry, I'm messing with that. Sorry.
No, that's all right. You know what? And I figured it's bound to happen too. You know, like I said, I was able to get the equipment that I needed to start this. But of course, you know, we're just starting off.
Yeah.
Obviously a very low budget. And I got what I need to start it. You know, do I have a cool studio and sound canceling, you know, decorations up on the wall? Is it going to sound the best it possibly could? No. But
we'll get there.
You got to start somewhere, right?
We'll get there. Absolutely.
So, but going back to it though, kids, I mean, yeah, baby fever, but what is it about kids that makes you feel fulfilled? We've talked about it before. You know, following your passions in life, what makes you feel most fulfilled? A lot of people find meaning through religion. Some people go out and search for it and find their own. And I think you have a couple. I think you have a few reasons for being on this earth. But kids is definitely a huge one.
I mean, I feel like starting the daycare helped me do a couple of things that I enjoy doing. And again, working with kids, but more specifically, you know, being able to help others. I know that for a while there, even though I was in a relationship, it felt like I was doing a lot of it on my own. You know, trying to find childcare, trying to, you know, go to work, just being stressed out in general. Trying to survive is what it felt like.
Yeah.
And so being able to open up a daycare and remember what I had to go through, remembering how hard it was, how financially draining it was. You know, I wanted to be the person to kind of like help someone else out so that they're not having to be as stressed out. They're not having to be as financially drained, that they can feel, you know, I don't know, comfortable bringing their kid here, but also feeling like a little bit of stress has been relieved from their lives. Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to help others to be able to succeed, you know, where I was feeling like I was failing, honestly.
Yeah.
Back then.
Yeah.
Not only that, I mean, it does help out my family as well.
Yeah.
So to me, it was like a win-win. I'm helping my family, I'm helping my children, my husband, and I'm helping someone else, you know, and it was just like the perfect combination.
Nice.
I don't know if I answered your question.
I feel like you did.
Okay.
I feel like there's no wrong answers, you know,
Okay.
like wherever your heart takes you.
Well, I'm ADD, so my heart takes me everywhere.
It takes you everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, you're in a good format here.
Yay.
No wrong answers.
Okay.
So starting a daycare in Maryland, running a daycare in Maryland, what's that like?
It was quite honestly a little stressful at first. I mean, I say at first, I only opened up like it's been literally a month now. But trying to get my registration, trying to get all of the things that they wanted to have done, you know, taking all the classes and setting up the daycare. There was a lot. I mean, I've said it a million times. Maryland seems to be one of the stricter states when it comes to what's allowed and what's not allowed. And as a parent, I can absolutely appreciate that, knowing that if someone has gone through that kind of trouble to get licensed, I know it's somebody who's going to be reliable, who's going to take care of my kid, and, you know, they have the best interest at heart. As a provider, good God, did I feel like I was going through like some kind of like gauntlet thing that, I mean, there was a couple of times where I was like, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah.
It's just too much. And every time I felt like I was there, you know, like, I'm done. They were like, nope, we need this. And I was like, God bless. So it took me what, a year to get everything set up and done. So it was a lot. It was stressful, but I did it. We finished, and I was able to open up, and that's all I wanted to do. And I was trying to do it as quickly as possible because Stephen had a coworker who was really needing childcare, and that was another reason that kind of like pushed me into doing it. Was seeing just how bad this person was struggling to find childcare. She needed to go to work. She was stressed out about it, and I was like, you know, I'll watch your kid, and you know, I got this. And then just seeing how long it was taking me to be able to get set up and get started and to be able to help her out was frustrating. You know, I knew she was running out of time. You know, she can't just wait forever.
Yeah.
And yet it's taking me forever to set up. And it's like the whole reason I was starting this was to help her. And yet I'm like not able to do that. And it was stressful. It was.
Earlier when I asked you like what it is about like the daycare, why you chose daycare, and you talked about how you want to help people, and you say that a lot. I do think you have an extremely kind heart, but there are a lot of ways to help out people. Mm-hmm. You chose kids, and it seems like it's kind of in your bones, right? What is it about kids in particular, right? Because, I mean, how else could you help people? You know, you could go volunteer. Yeah. You could, you know, help out the homeless. You could, you know, there are a lot of things you could do to help out people.
Yeah.
You know, some people, I'm going to clean houses, you know, so that way, you know, people don't have to worry about the stress of cleaning up their house.
Which, by the way, I could definitely use one of those kind of people.
But you chose kids. You chose kids, though. And you talked about a baby fever. You know, you want babies.
I joke around about that. I say it all the time. I feel like me and kiddos are on the same maturity level, and that's why we get along so well. I'm kidding. But in a way, I'm not. You know, I get to get down their level. You know, we get to color and play and sing songs. And to me, that's fun. You know, like I enjoy doing those things. I enjoy coloring. I enjoy teaching them. I enjoy, you know, watching them learn things or like saying new words, you know, like push Getty. And I'm over here like, that's the cutest thing I've ever heard. Like, to me, that brings joy and fulfillment. You know, somebody like an artist their painting may bring them joy and fulfillment.
Yeah.
Me getting to, work with little kids and watching them grow and being a part of that brings me fulfillment.
Yeah.
And to me, it's not a job. Like it's kind of like I'm getting paid to play with kids all day. Mm-hmm. Heck yeah.
You brought up like a painter. And when I try to compare it to, me chasing after my own passion and my own fulfillment, I imagine a painter probably might find fulfillment in painting mm-hmm. because they get to create. There's a lot of mm-hmm. freedom involved.
Very true.
They get to express themselves.
Very true.
Right. And then, I imagine at some point you find people that appreciate mm-hmm. your art, and maybe that art speaks to others, and maybe that's what you're trying to do. And
actually, that brings up, that's exactly what it is. I've had quite a few parents, come up to me and, be like, I'm just so grateful, of what you're doing. And, like I could never do this and da, da, da. And I'm like, it feels great to feel appreciated. Sorry, you distracted me. Now I'm
You said it feels good to be appreciated.
There's the ADD.
I'll keep you on track.
Thank you, baby.
Yeah. You got parents coming up saying how much they appreciate what you're doing.
What were you saying before that? Damn, you really did throw me off.
Wow, man, I'm really sorry. I was looking at the time, making sure that everything was still running. I would hate for us to get into a really good conversation and then look down at the thing. Oh man, it stopped recording like half an hour ago, man.
That would be our luck.
Right. And that's what I'm trying to avoid. But no, what I was saying, where I think we may have lost each other, was talking about painter and how their paint speaks to people.
Yeah.
I know some people, I got a buddy, Romeo Verde, shout out to him. So he's a poet. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to him the other day, and we were discussing something, but then I brought it back to his poetry, and I was telling him that I imagine at some point, if it hasn't happened already, the work that he does probably might help someone through some hard times. It might help someone find answers mm-hmm. to questions that they have, or maybe didn't know that they had. It might speak to them in a way that makes their life better.
Yeah.
And when you were talking about earlier, like, how someone finds fulfillment in what they do. I think you remember that one video we were watching, the 1980s video, all the guys, it was a dating video. And they were all kind of like,
gosh.
Hey, like, I'm Jim. I like to something.
Do you remember the guy wearing the, like, what was it? Like the Viking hat?
I remember all the guys. He was the cutest by far.
I wish you would have shown up to our first date with a Viking helmet on.
I'm sorry I disappointed you. But I say that to say there was one point in which they put clip after clip after clip of all of them saying, I like to have fun. I like to have fun. I like to have fun.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah, because that's a different definition for every single person.
You say, I find fulfillment in painting. I find fulfillment in taking care of kids. To me.
That's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
You brought up like the fact that I get to be myself. I get freedom of expression.
Yeah.
I get to be artistic, be creative. Like all these little juices get to flow out because I'm working with kids. Like, we're going to work on rainbows today. Like what can we do?
Yeah.
To teach rainbows, but also like it's just, it does. It brings me fulfillment. It brings me joy. Like the music. I will laugh. I'm a very big music person.
I know.
Music can dictate how I feel, what I'm thinking of. And so I remember at first, I'm trying to find music for the kids to learn, ABCs and days of the week and things like that. And I'm a big music person. And all of a sudden I find Gracie's Corner.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know what Gracie's Corner is, I'm gonna need you to look it up. But it is like the I don't know, hip hop R&B kind of version of baby music. And let me tell you right now, like we're listening to Days of the Week and all the kids are like bouncing around like, oh yeah. It's like, being able to do stuff like that. Like, I love it. It's ridiculous, but I love it.
Nice. So how's it going so far? How's it been running the daycare? You got some kids?
I do.
In your care so far?
I do. I've had six total that I've watched so far. One started going back to school, so I'm back down to 5, and I've got one that will be starting next week.
Yeah,
and then an infant, like baby, starting on October 10th. But right now I've got a bunch of 2-year-olds, and then a 4 and a 5-year-old, and having that big of an age gap can present some challenges. They're obviously on different learning paths. They're obviously on different, every child is going to be on a different level when it comes to what they know, what they don't, what they need, things like that. So finding a perfect balance for all of them can sometimes be a little challenging.
Mm.
I love challenges.
Yeah.
That's why I married you. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But no, I really am kidding. But it does. It kind of, again, keeps those creative juices flowing. Like, okay, we want to learn this topic. What can I do to make it understandable for each child?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
does this kid need that the other one, doesn't? And so I feel like it's been going really well. We've had a couple of hiccups. But again, I feel like that's the learning curve.
Yeah.
I just started. And so there's going to be a couple of moments where I'm like, let's not ever do that again.
Yeah. I think you're picking up really quick. Whenever I do notice you run into a problem or even a possible problem. I will say you've done a really good job at adjusting. You're like, all right, I see how this could be a problem. Let me fix this.
Yeah.
Whether that be in your policies or your procedures or whatever you do. You've been doing a really, really good job at, now that things are running, adjusting.
Yeah.
As you're moving forward.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're doing a really good job at it.
Trying, and you're right, it's always great to have a plan.
Yeah.
But it's always great to understand that those plans can change and that when they do change, you need to be ready to just go with the flow and fix it quickly. Yes. Out there, any new parents, these little sensory tables and things that you see parents doing and all that, do not fill up a bucket of sand or fill up a bucket of colored rice and then put it on the floor for a bunch of toddlers to play with if you're not expecting to have a massive mess. And I mean like dumping out the entire bucket of 5 cups of rice and then having to clean it all up. Yeah. So word of warning, do that outside. Just saying.
But obviously the daycare, it's not everything about you.
No, I don't think it is. Yeah.
No, far from it.
No, yeah.
Far from it.
Yeah.
So outside of your day job, running your own business, taking care of kids, what beyond taking care of those kids, how else do you find fulfillment? What do you do? I can say this, your kids, goodness gracious. It's very clear they're your top priority.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I did forget about that. That was actually one of the main reasons why I started this job too, was I wanted a job. Your paycheck covers all of the major bills and stuff.
Yeah. It's had to.
It's had to.
For the past few years.
Yeah. And so, and I've always wanted to go back to work, and we were having issues with me being able to go back to work for financial reasons or, COVID and things like that. The kids, needing after school care or, Raleigh.
I tell people about the multiple school schedules down there.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
For while we were down there, they're like, that was the reason.
That was the issue. Imagine you live in a neighborhood. So every person in that neighborhood is having to deal with that. Like our elementary school kids, middle school and high school all had a different schedule, which means they were never out at the same time for holidays, vacations, like none of it. And so when one kid's out, the other one's going in, and I'm like,
yeah,
what am I supposed to do?
On top of when you get sick, when they get sick.
Yeah, it was just constant. And so working just wasn't feasible. He's military. He's going out overseas and stuff. And it's like when he's gone, it's my job to be there.
Yeah.
And so, doing this job was a way to be able to be home at the same time, be able to do things like the kids are getting older now. They want to do football and cheerleading and gymnastics or, going to cooking classes. Our oldest is going to be going to college soon, and this job was an opportunity to make some money to be able to, let them do those things. So yeah, our kids are a big, huge focus in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you feel is, you talk about taking care of daycare kids. Mm-hmm. You got your own kids. Mm-hmm. Clearly, you want to be an influence to young lives. What do you feel is something you emphasize? I mean, you're taking care of kids. I mean, I've been in a role too where you are either responsible, in charge of something, people either younger or less experienced, or in some way you're mentoring, in some way you're taking care of people. And you've talked about it before. Like if you could be like a foster parent, if you could have your own Chrissy's house of wonderful kids,
we would have a million.
You'd have all the kids. What do you feel like? I mean, you're trying to impart your knowledge, your experience. Yeah. You're trying to develop. You're trying to. Yeah. I know you want kids to feel loved.
Yeah, I mean, when you were bringing that up, yeah. So, I mean, I've been through a lot in life. I know people have gone through way worse, but I feel like growing up the way I grew up, going through the things that I had to go through, it taught me a lot about emotions and emotional development. And I feel like that's something that I feel strongly about, that I try to teach, and that is something that with especially young children, I hope to be able to help them learn that. I know growing up, it wasn't important, but, feeling validated, being able to understand your emotions. So many of my friends and family growing up, we were told to shut up, sit down, follow rules, do what you're supposed to do. And so many adults I notice nowadays don't even understand how they're feeling.
Yeah.
I can't tell you, like, I'm looking at a person who is visibly upset and I'm like, what's wrong? And they're like, I'm pissed. Why? I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's like, how are we supposed to teach children to understand their emotions so that they can, learn how to navigate that and handle it if we don't even understand our own emotions? Mm-hmm. And so that to me has been a big thing too. I want to be able to help children grow up to not have the kind of mental and emotional issues that a lot of us had to grow up with.
Some people have kids, and we all have our own baggage, our own emotional scars. Mm-hmm. And parenting, I've learned, you gotta, man, you really gotta be at your best. You really gotta be your best. And, a lot of the time your best isn't good enough. No. I've failed left, right, and center.
Help me too.
Trying to be the best parent that I can be. I've done a lot of work on, like you said, emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
And for some of us, I find it so interesting, not just how we interact with kids, how we interact with everyone.
Yeah.
I think it's so so interesting how, our own experiences in life dictate how we act, how we react to things. You could be offended by something, and the person that did the offense may be completely ignorant to how it could possibly be taken as offended.
Yeah.
Because of how we've experienced things.
Yeah.
And, that's always, going to be the way things are. We're always going to have different experiences, and we're always going to see things differently. But understanding emotions. Okay. I got offended at something. Why? I got angry at something. Why did I get angry at that?
Yeah.
And not a lot of people do that.
Yeah. It's being willing to, take a step back and to, kind of like think about yourself for a second.
Yeah.
Why am I feeling this way? And then once you can understand why you're feeling a certain way, then you can understand why the other person said, reacted, or did whatever they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that all came, like you said, from being a parent to 3 kids. I know, bless her heart, my oldest.
Yeah.
She got the bulk of it. Again, when I was pregnant with her, I was in a really bad situation. And so, I wasn't emotionally in a good spot. And so, because of my depression, because of my anxiety, things like that, she had to go through things while I was trying to learn how to navigate those emotions and feelings and things.
Yeah.
And now, now that I've gotten so much more knowledge on it, I look back and I'm like, man, I could have done this differently. Maybe that would have helped her out, with this or that, or I could have taught the kids this. And I'm trying to teach them that now.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't beat myself up because I didn't know.
Exactly.
But I know now. And so I'm trying to teach them that now. And now that I know how important it is, I mean, the fact that, like, for example, having a child not feel loved at a very young age can cause so many psychological issues.
Yeah.
That will trickle into adulthood.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like little things, like being on our cell phones. When the child sees you on the cell phone and not paying attention to them, and they're asking for that attention and you're ignoring them, that sets off a whole chain reaction in their little minds that dictates slowly. It's like, changing their brain chemistry and how they look at things and how they focus and how they think. And it's insane how something as little as looking at Facebook could cause so much damage later on in life. Yeah,
because they'll be looking to you, they'll be looking to someone, right, for that attention. If they don't get that attention there, they're going to start looking for that attention in other places.
Yeah. I mean, not even that. It causes things like anxiety. Yeah. It can cause, I forgot what the term is, but it's like where, like they literally, like their emotions, like they disassociate their emotions from people.
Yeah.
I mean, they've even linked that to, I mean, I know it's taking it far, but like, some kids that didn't get that love that they needed as a child, like turn into like, you're murderers and stuff.
No, it's an extreme, but it's possible.
It's possible.
It's
possible. So, you don't think about the damages that you're doing, especially like me. I was a young parent. I was 20 years old when I had my first child. So you don't think about the little tiny things that are insignificant to us as an adult, but a huge impact to an infant, their mind, their brain development, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. And it gets so much more dangerous. That's why I took that little social media break. I had to take a break from there, and man, it was beneficial. Yeah. It really was. There's been so much talk I've listened to, the chemical release that we get from watching TikTok, from going onto Facebook, and we're scrolling through videos and we're getting that immediate dopamine, and that's what our body's craving.
Making TikTok videos and getting those likes.
Exactly. Getting those likes and getting those views. Yep. And it's, because these chemicals are getting released in our brains, and they're like, man, this is, our brain doesn't know how we're getting it. It just knows we're getting it.
Yep. And it likes it.
Yeah. And this is the quickest, this is the easiest way of getting it. And why would I do anything more difficult if I can just do this easy thing and then get it?
Yeah. And here I am talking about, emotional damage and stuff. And yet I'll be the first to say, like, I've noticed how hard it is for me to put the phone down sometimes.
Yeah.
I've noticed where I'm on TikTok and it's like, I'm looking at these videos and laughing. And then the next second I'm crying. The next second I'm like, oh my gosh, that's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Next second I'm laughing again. Yeah. And it's like, I am putting my body through an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, 2 hours have gone by and I'm like, what happened?
Well, you got people whose whole job it is to keep you on that phone.
Yeah.
Me and you, we watched that documentary, The Social Dilemma. There are people.
That was eye-opening.
There are people out there. Their whole job is to keep your eyes on that phone. And they are analyzing how long are you lingering on this photo, on this video? What are you clicking on?
Yeah.
All right, let me feed you more of that. Let's keep you on here. Have you not gotten on in a while? Let me remind you.
Yes,
Let me remind you that you haven't gotten on in a while.
I've been getting notifications that were like, hey, Chrissy, people really like you on TikTok. They're really liking your videos. Come check it out. And I'm like, man, they're not kidding.
Yeah, people like me.
Yeah, let me get on there.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
getting attention.
As soon as I see it, like I've caught myself going to click on it and I'm like, stop.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like I have to mentally tell me, stop, put the phone down. Because it's like, you don't need that. But it's hard. It's hard. And I'll tell you right now, there's days where I fail and I click on that button.
Yep.
And 2 hours go by.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, I did it again.
Yeah, I can do it too. But I'm trying to be, one of the concepts that I've heard recently, and I really like it. I'm trying to work more on it. Is your wrist getting tired?
Yeah, I was going to switch hands.
Okay, do it.
Oh, my finger. I can't move it.
No way. Man, you got rigor mortis already, huh?
I couldn't move it. That was crazy. Weird. Anyways, go ahead. My bad.
Yeah. No, one of the concepts that I heard recently and I really like it was, a lot of people will make the mistake of relying on motivation.
Yeah.
I'm
one of them.
When I get up in the morning, I got to be motivated to go to the gym. I got to be motivated to do this or that. And a lot of successful people are not motivated to do things sometimes. No. They're disciplined.
Yep.
They will.
That's a good
force
word.
They will force themselves. It's like, no, I have to get up. I have to do this.
Yeah. I'm still working on that myself, with the daycare. I keep saying I'm going to get up at 4:30. And I know it sounds early to everybody or to most people, but I know that if I'm up by 4:30, I can, get in the shower, feel refreshed, go eat some breakfast, get my day started. But what do? Because I'm not disciplined in it right now, I'll just, linger in bed or go back to sleep or whatever. And now I'm waking up and I don't have enough time. So now I'm rushing to get myself ready for the day. And instead of starting it off calm and, starting it well and getting things set up, now I'm rushing to where I'm stressed out before I've even opened.
Yeah. Starting off your day like that.
Yeah.
Not good.
No.
Not good. You doing all right?
Yeah, I got a Charlie horse on my toes.
Charlie horse on my toes? You got it. You got it, champ.
What's wrong? My finger and my toe?
I know, right? I don't know.
Falling apart?
Well, I'll say this much, and I guess this kind of brings up an interesting point, right? I've been wondering how long to make these podcasts.
Okay.
Right? You have some that are 10 minutes long, 15 minutes long. I'll admit I listen to the Joe Rogan podcast all the time. And his go 3+ hours sometimes.
Really?
Oh yeah.
You know what? But you have people like you love storytelling. You love podcasts. You love to listen to, like he can sit there in the car and just listen to a book, an audio book, or watch an anime, or just listen to an anime like that. You enjoy.
Yeah.
So some people will enjoy those 3-hour longs where it's like, my poor ADD brain just will not let me. And I'm like 30 minutes max and my brain's done.
Well, here's some things I thought of to help balance out, right? Because when I was looking it up, they're like, oh man, if you're going to make a podcast, you got to make it like, 15 minutes long. Some will go like 45 minutes long, don't do it any longer than that. For me, I'm going to do things the way I want to do them.
I was about to say that, yeah.
And I just do not care what the stats say about, oh, well, the most popular podcasts are only this long.
Yeah.
And listeners only pay attention to this long. I'm like, I don't care. Because if I'm going to have a conversation with someone, okay, let's say the next person I talk to, right? I'm obviously not going to know them as well as you.
Yeah.
And I want to learn more about them. And if someone's going to listen to this, I want other, I want people that also desire to understand, to learn, to grow, develop from other people.
Yeah.
This is what that's kind of for.
Yeah.
Kind of those like-minded individuals like myself. I want to provide the same service to others that I've been provided. And granted, I was the one listening. Yeah. And I was the one trying to grow and from people providing their perspective, But another thing I learned was, your audience.
Yeah.
Right. By doing something like this, it has the potential for there to be a huge audience. Therefore, I could have an effect on many people. And that's why I do this.
And it's nice too, because even when you post this, you're going to have people commenting back on it. So you're getting feedback and still learning. Mm-hmm. From others.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when the thought crossed my mind of, okay, how long do I make this thing? I don't know yet. I honestly don't know yet. I figured, I'm going to do some episodes. Mm-hmm. I'm going to see how long a typical conversation might go.
Yeah.
Sure. I probably might, draw a line, and I might say, all right, at this time is when I'll start trying to wrap things up. You
can always do like part 2, if it's
I can
like
do part
good
2
conversation that's just going a little longer or whatever.
One of the remedies I thought of, because I've seen it work before for others, is trying to find little clips. Let's say we're talking about something, right? Yeah.
Like pull it up.
Yeah, I'll take that clip, and the clip itself might be 30 seconds. It might be 3 minutes, and that's more, that's easier digested than listening to. Right now, we've been going about 47 minutes. So it's a lot easier to listen to.
I don't believe it.
Than 40. And that, for me, that's what it's like listening to podcasts. We've gone 47 minutes now, and you're thinking it's been like 10.
Yeah, it just feels like we've just been talking.
Yeah. But for me, I understand not everyone's going to be able to, you might not even have the time to sit down and listen to something like that, So, but in case someone is, and maybe it might take you a few days to get through one conversation that I have.
Yeah. But
I want to do service. I want to do justice to what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
We talked about fulfillment. I'm chasing mine right now. I'm chasing my fulfillment. I'm chasing my passions.
Yeah.
And I am certainly not going to hinder them. I'm not going to confine them to what someone says they should be.
Well, I was going to say, like when I was starting the whole daycare thing, I got many suggestions on how it should run, what we should do, how it needs to be, what I'm supposed to do versus what I should or shouldn't do. And I'm gonna tell you something right now. If you're following your dreams, sure, get information, learn, be prepared, but also find your own path. I heard somebody say, like the singer was like trying to imitate Mariah Carey. And I'll never forget it. She was like, I love that you sound just like Mariah Carey, but we already have a Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
The world doesn't need another Mariah Carey. We want a you.
Yeah.
Do it your own. So, okay. Ooh, sorry. So, sure, podcasts are supposed to be 30 minutes. Okay, great. What are you comfortable with? What do you enjoy? Make you happy, because it's supposed to be for you.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be your passion. So do it your way.
Yeah.
As long as you're not hurting others. Y'all heard me. Don't go out there and be like, oh, I enjoy beating people. No. But,
Yeah.
If you're going to do something, learn about it, be knowledgeable, but make it your own at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what I'm going for. That's what I'm going for. Yeah.
You're awesome at it.
I appreciate it. And you know what's exciting is that, anything you do, you get better through practice.
Sorry.
That's all right. I figured the little noise you're hearing right now from you holding the microphone, quite honestly, that's probably what's going to be like for a little while. Obviously this isn't going to be the best quality. This isn't, studio quality audio. It's the audio that I have access to right now.
Yeah.
I have access to the equipment that I have.
It'll get better.
But you know what? I got to start at some point. Yeah. And if you wait for things to be perfect before you start something,
you'll never start it.
You're never going to start it.
Honestly, I love it when I hear somebody like this. You do this and then come back to it years later.
Right.
And you can see how much you've grown and how much you've improved. And it's like, man, look what I did.
Yeah. I will say, admittedly, I hate going and looking back at my old work. If I make a video,
you do
years from now, if I go back and listen,
you're such a perfectionist.
I can be. And so I don't know what the likelihood of me ever listening, I'll obviously, whenever this is done, I'll edit it, I'll put it up.
Yeah.
But years down the road, will I listen to this? Probably not. Just the thought of it might be,
he says that, but I'll be the one to turn it on. He'll be like, Chris, hey.
Yeah. Yeah.
So. I will say this though. Thank you for having me on here. The one thing something that really made me fall in love with you is your heart for people. I saw it. He was doing it way before he met me. And I say we met, we've known each other for a very long time. But,
yeah.
But he was doing that way before me and him, started talking again. He would do things like set up those free photos or hug posters. And, he would just go out to random places and interact with strangers and, make them smile, give them a better day or say something, kind to them. And just to see, somebody walking by who looked sad, maybe was going through a lot and walked by with a smile now because of what he said or did. It was amazing to see that. And it inspired me to want to do something like that. So I appreciate what you're doing and I hope that this reaches people and it helps people and, that even you and I can grow from the people that you have on here or the people that message back. We get to get insight from them and learn more. And I love developing as a person. So I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
Anytime, baby.
I appreciate that. That means a lot. I really, really do. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Making me smile.
That's my job.
Hey, I can't think of any other note to end on than that. Thank you for talking to me. Mm-hmm. Thank you for being my person.
Every time.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes.
Me too, babe. I'm excited for you.
Awesome. Any final words you want to say? Put out the website. Put any Addy's Playhouse stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah. What's going on with that?
I have a CD coming out.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Just kidding. Yeah. Go check it out. It's addysplayhouse.com. And I don't know what else to say. I'm like
addysplayhouse.com. She is amazing at what she does. I can't think of a better person to be taking care of kids.
Oh, thank you.
So awesome. Mm-hmm. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.